Hello and welcome to USA English Talks. This is not only a place where you learn English, it is also a place where you can build your confidence, your voice, and your way of thinking. If you ever feel shy, stuck, or unsure about yourself, you are not alone. Many people feel the same, and you are in the right place. Take a slow, deep breath. Let's grow step by step together. Today, I want to talk to you in a very simple and honest way. Not like a strict teacher, not like a loud motivational speaker, but like a normal person who also has experienced confusion, mistakes, and silent struggles in life. Thinking about the past, imagine this moment. You are sitting alone, maybe at night. Everything is quiet around you, and suddenly your mind starts thinking about your past. You remember the chances you did not take. You remember the words you wanted to say, but stayed silent. You remember the risks you were too scared to try. And slowly, you feel something inside your heart. A mix of regret, curiosity, and questions. You start asking yourself, what if I did things differently? Many people feel like this, including me sometimes. I sometimes imagine going back in time and meeting my younger self, but I would not give him big success tips or complicated advice. Instead, I would give him something very simple, something more important than success. I would give him advice for life struggles, advice that helps with fear, confusion, and self-doubt, advice that protects peace of mind, why we struggle inside. The truth is simple. Most people are not struggling because they don't know what to do. They are struggling because of how they feel inside. We think about missed chances. We remember fear. We remember times we stayed silent when we wanted to speak. These memories do not disappear easily. They stay inside us quietly. They do not make noise, but they slowly affect our thoughts. Over time, they turn into overthinking, doubt, and the feeling that we are not good enough. But here is something very important. Your brain is not trying to hurt you. It is actually trying to protect you. When your brain keeps reminding you of past mistakes, it is not doing it to make you feel bad. It is doing it to help you avoid pain in the future. Your brain remembers emotional moments very strongly, especially painful ones. It is like your mind is saying, don't forget this, so you don't get hurt again. But sometimes this protection becomes a problem. Instead of helping you move forward, it keeps you stuck in the past. You keep thinking, what should I have done? What should I have said? And slowly, you stop focusing on your present life. You become trapped in your own thoughts. Overthinking and fear, many people go through silent struggles every day. From outside, everything looks normal. They smile, talk, and do daily work. But inside, their mind is not calm. It keeps thinking again and again, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about problems that may never happen. This is called overthinking, and it makes life feel heavier than it really is. Then there is another problem, fear of judgment. You want to speak, but you stay silent. You want to try something new, but you stop yourself because you think, what will people say? So you choose safety over growth. You choose silence over expression. Slowly, this becomes a habit, and without realizing it, your life becomes smaller than your true potential. Comparison with others, then you look at others. On social media or in real life, you see people moving forward. You see people achieving things, and you start comparing. You ask yourself, why am I not there yet? What is wrong with me? This creates a feeling that you are behind in life, like everyone else has a map and you are lost. But this is not the truth. Understanding your brain, you are not weak, you are not lazy, and you are not broken. There is a reason behind what you feel. Inside your brain, there is a small system called the amygdala. You don't need to remember the name. Just understand its job. Its job is to protect you from danger, but it does not only see physical danger. It also treats emotional things like rejection, failure, and embarrassment as danger. So when you try something new, your brain quickly reacts. It says, this is not safe. Stay where you are. That is why you feel fear and hesitation. Not because you are incapable, but because your brain is trying to protect you. Change in mindset. So if you ever called yourself lazy, stop for a moment. Maybe you were not lazy. Maybe you were overwhelmed. Too many thoughts, too many fears, too many what-if questions. And if you ever thought you were weak, try to see it differently. You were not weak, you were human. Your brain was trying to protect you in its own way, and when you understand this, something changes. You stop blaming yourself so much. You start to understand yourself better. And slowly, a new thought begins to grow. I am not broken. I am just learning. Important life lessons. Now let's talk about some deeper truths. These are things I wish I knew earlier in life. Not in a harsh way, but in a calm and honest way. For a long time, I believed I had to make everyone like me. I thought if people accepted me, then I would be happy. So I changed myself. I changed my behavior. I changed my words, sometimes even my personality. I said yes when I wanted to say no. I stayed silent when I wanted to speak. And slowly I started losing myself. But the truth is simple. You don't need everyone to like you. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will stay in your life, and that is completely okay. When you stop trying to please everyone, you finally become free to be yourself. Confidence truth. Another important truth is this: waiting for confidence is a mistake. Many people think, we'll start when I feel ready. But that moment never comes. Confidence does not come before action. It comes after action. You build confidence by doing, not by waiting. So start small. Start simple. Start imperfect. But just start. Your brain does not learn just by thinking about something. It learns when you actually do it. Every small action you take sends a message to your brain. I can do this. And slowly, step by step, confidence starts to grow inside you. Not in a perfect way. Not suddenly, but in a quiet and natural way. If you keep waiting to feel ready, you may wait forever. But if you start now, even when you feel unsure, something inside you begins to change. Nobody is coming to save you. There is another truth that is very important, even if it is difficult to hear. Nobody is coming to save you. At first, this may feel a little heavy or even sad. Most people like to believe that one day, someone will come and fix their life. Someone will guide them, motivate them, and make everything easy. But real life does not work like that. Yes, people can support you. They can guide you. They can inspire you. But they cannot live your life for you. They cannot make your decisions. They cannot face your fears. And when you truly accept this truth, something powerful happens inside you. You stop waiting for others. You stop depending too much on people. You start taking responsibility for your own life. And responsibility is not a burden. It is power. Because the moment you take responsibility, you also take control. You realize that small daily actions can slowly change your entire life. Time is quietly passing. There is something very simple but very important that we often forget. Time is always passing. Not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly every day. And many times we tell ourselves, I will start later, I will try one day, I will change when the time is right. But one day is a dangerous idea. Because slowly, one day becomes not today. Then it becomes not this week. Then it becomes not this year. And before we realize it, a lot of time has already passed. This is not to scare you. It is just a gentle reminder. You still have time, but that time is now. Not perfect, not ideal, but real. A moment of honesty. If I could sit with my younger self, I would not speak with anger or regret. I would speak calmly and honestly. I would say, you do not need everyone to like you to be valuable. You do not need confidence before you start. You do not need someone else to change your life. And most importantly, do not wait too long to become the person you want to be. And maybe, as you listen to this, you feel something inside you shifting. Not pressure, not fear, just a quiet understanding. A small moment of clarity when things start to make sense. The turning point in life, there comes a moment. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, but it is very real. It is the moment you sit alone and feel tired inside. Not tired from work, but tired from life feeling stuck. Doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, repeating the same patterns, and not moving forward. In that quiet moment, a thought slowly appears. I am tired of living like this. It is not anger. It is not motivation. It is clarity. For the first time, you stop blaming everything around you and you look at yourself honestly. And another truth becomes clear. Nothing will change if I do not change. Change starts small. At this point, something very important happens. You do not suddenly become perfect or fearless. You do not wake up fully confident the next day. Change is not like that. It is much simpler. You just make one small decision, a quiet decision. You decide to try, even if you are not ready. You decide to move, even if the step is small. And that is where everything begins. Your brain can change. There is something inside your brain called neuroplasticity. You do not need to remember the word. Just understand the idea. Your brain is not fixed. It is always changing based on what you do again and again. Every time you take a small new action, your brain creates new pathways. You are teaching it a new way to think, a new way to respond, a new way to behave. At first it feels uncomfortable. Your old habits try to pull you back. Your mind says, "This is hard. Go back to what is easy. This is not you." And that is normal. That is just your brain trying to stay in its comfort zone. But if you continue, something starts to change. The new action becomes easier. The fear becomes weaker. The resistance becomes smaller. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to feel different, stronger, calmer, more in control. You are not stuck. This is the moment many people wait for. But they don't realize something important. It does not come from outside. It does not come from perfect timing or perfect conditions. It comes from a simple decision inside you. I don't want to stay the same anymore. And then proving it with small daily actions. So if you are thinking, can I really change? The answer is yes. You are not fixed. You are not stuck. You are not limited by your past. You are someone who can learn and grow. Start before you feel ready. One of the most important lessons in life is this. Start before you feel ready. Most people wait for the perfect moment. They say, I will start when I feel confident. I will start when I feel prepared. But that moment usually never comes. Because your brain always wants safety and certainty. But growth does not feel safe at the beginning. When you try something new, your brain starts asking, what if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I make mistakes? And because of that, you feel fear. Not because you cannot do it, but because your brain cannot control the result. And this is where most people stop. They stay in thinking mode, planning, learning, waiting, but not doing. And the more they wait, the harder it feels to start.
The 5-minute rule. So how do you break this cycle? Start very small.
One simple method is the 5-minute rule. It is very easy. Instead of saying, I have to do this perfectly for a long time, you say, I will do this for just 5 minutes. That's it. No pressure, no perfection, just 5 minutes of action. If you want to learn English, speak for 5 minutes. If you want to study, study for 5 minutes. If you want to start a habit, do it for 5 minutes. Because once you start, continuing becomes easier than starting. If you want to start something new, give it just 5 minutes of your time. Something very interesting happens when you do this. Your brain does not feel threatened anymore because the task is small. It feels safe. It feels easy enough to begin. And once you actually start, something changes inside you. The resistance becomes weaker. The fear becomes smaller. And many times you will notice that you continue even after the 5 minutes are over. Because the hardest part is not doing the work. The hardest part is starting it. You don't need motivation. You need movement. I want you to remember one important line. You don't need motivation. You need movement. Motivation does not stay for long. Some days you feel motivated and some days you don't. If you depend only on motivation, your life will always feel inconsistent. But movement, small action, creates momentum, and momentum creates progress. So don't wait for the perfect feeling. Don't wait for confidence to suddenly appear. It will come later. Right now, just take one small step. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Even if it feels imperfect, even if it feels uncomfortable. Because in the end, people who grow are not the ones who feel ready. They are the ones who start anyway. Advice number 2. Your habits shape your future. There is a very simple but powerful truth that many people don't understand at first. Your habits are your future, not your big dreams, not your temporary motivation, not even your plans, but the small things you do every single day. Because your life is not built in one big moment. It is built through small actions repeated over time. For a long time, I used to think my identity was fixed. I would say things like, I am not confident. I am not disciplined. I am not good at this. But later, I understood something very important. Identity is not something you are born with. It is something you build through repetition. Whatever you do again and again, your brain starts accepting as your identity. If you practice speaking every day, even a little, your brain starts thinking, I am someone who speaks. But if you avoid things again and again, your brain starts believing, I am someone who avoids. So identity is not a fixed label. It is a pattern of behavior. How habits form in your brain. There is a part of the brain called the basal ganglia. You don't need to remember the name, but its job is important. It turns repeated actions into automatic habits. That is why some things feel easy without thinking, like brushing your teeth or checking your phone. These actions are repeated so many times that your brain no longer needs effort. It becomes automatic. And this is true for both good habits and bad habits. The real problem, most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they try to change too much too fast. They set big goals. They expect fast results. And when things feel hard, they stop. But the brain does not change through big actions. It changes through small, repeated actions. 1% improvement rule. That's why one powerful idea is try to improve just 1% every day. It may sound small, but over time it creates huge change. Instead of saying, I will study 2 hours every day, start with something very small. Something so easy that you cannot say no to it. Even 5 minutes is enough. Because in the beginning, the goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency. When you show up every day, even in a small way, you are training your brain. You are building trust with yourself. And slowly, that small action becomes part of your identity. Habit stacking, very powerful method. Another simple way to build habits is to connect them with something you already do. For example, you already brush your teeth every day. So you can say, after brushing my teeth, I will study English for 5 minutes. Now you are not relying on motivation. You are using an existing habit as a trigger for a new one. Over time, this becomes natural. The resistance becomes smaller. And without forcing yourself, you become someone who takes action regularly. Not because you try hard every day, but because it becomes part of who you are. So if you ever feel confused about your future, don't look too far ahead. Look at your daily habits. Because your habits are quietly building your future, one small action at a time. Advice number 3. Stop comparing your life to others. There is a silent habit that affects many people without them noticing. Comparing your life to others. It usually starts very simply. You open your phone for a few minutes, you scroll social media, and suddenly you see people achieving success, traveling, smiling, and living what looks like a perfect life. And without realizing it, your mind starts asking, why am I not there yet? What am I doing wrong? But here is the truth. You are not seeing reality. You are seeing highlights. Social media shows the best moments, not the struggles, not the failures, not the hard work behind it. So you are comparing your real life with someone else's edited life. And this is not fair to you. What is happening in your brain when you scroll? Your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is a chemical that creates excitement and curiosity, but it does not give satisfaction. It creates the desire for more. So you keep scrolling, comparing, and searching for the next thing. This becomes a loop. Scroll, compare, feel low, scroll again. Over time, this increases anxiety and lowers confidence. The truth about life is not a race. Everyone has a different path, different starting points, different timing, different challenges. Some people start early, some start late, some move fast, some move slow, but none of that means better or worse. It simply means different journeys. So instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask this, am I improving even a little? Because real growth is not about being better than others. It is about being better than yesterday. You are not late. You are simply on your own path. Advice number 4, learn to manage your mind. One of the most important skills in life is learning how to manage your mind. Because no matter where you go, you are always living inside your thoughts. And if you don't understand your mind, it can become a place of stress and overthinking. So for a long time, I believed every thought I had. If I thought I am not good enough, I believed it. If I thought I will fail, I treated it like truth. But later I learned something powerful. Thoughts are not facts. They are just mental messages. Some are helpful, some are not. But they are not always true. Why overthinking happens? There's a system in the brain called the default mode network. You don't need to remember the name. But you have experienced it many times. It is the voice in your head that starts talking when you are alone or not focused. It brings past memories, future worries, and imaginary problems. And this creates overthinking. How to manage your thoughts. The first step is not to fight your thoughts. It is to observe them. One powerful method is writing them down. Because when thoughts stay in your head, they feel heavy and confusing. But when you write them down, they become clear and easier to understand. When you take a pen and paper, or even your phone, and you write your thoughts down, something important begins to change. You slow your thoughts down. You take them out of your mind and place them in front of you. Now you are no longer inside the storm of your thoughts. You are observing it from outside, and once you can clearly see your thoughts, you can start to question them. That is where real control begins. Instead of automatically believing every thought that comes into your mind, you gently pause and ask yourself a simple question. Is this 100% true? Not maybe true, not it feels true, but completely 100% true. For example, if your mind says, I will never improve my English, stop for a moment and ask, is this really 100% true? Have I truly never improved anything in my life? Is it really impossible for me to learn? Most of the time, the answer is no. That thought is not a fact. It is just fear, doubt, or a memory from the past repeating itself. When you practice this again and again, something powerful starts to happen. You create distance between yourself and your thoughts. You no longer believe every negative idea automatically. You become more aware, more calm, and more in control of your mind. The thoughts may still come, but they no longer control you in the same way. And this is the real goal. Not to have a mind with zero negative thoughts, but to have a trained mind that does not believe everything it thinks. So whenever your mind feels heavy, noisy, or overwhelming, remember this: slow down, write your thoughts, look at them clearly, and gently question them. Because the moment you stop believing every thought is the moment you start taking control of your life. Advice number 5, be kind to yourself. There is one relationship in your life that never leaves you, not even for a single moment. That is the relationship you have with yourself. And the way you talk to yourself, especially during difficult times, quietly shapes your confidence, your emotions, and your ability to move forward. Most people don't notice their inner voice at first. It feels normal. It feels automatic. But if you pay attention, you may hear thoughts like, why did you do that? You are not good enough. You always make mistakes. Over time, this inner voice becomes stronger. Not because it is true, but because it is repeated again and again. This is called self-talk, and it has a deep impact on how you see yourself. Your brain is always listening to your inner words, even the silent ones. When your self-talk is negative and harsh, your mind begins to build stress around those thoughts. It creates anxiety, pressure, and self-doubt. The more you repeat negative messages, the stronger those feelings become. It feels like you are training your mind to criticize you instead of support you. Many people believe this is helpful. They think being strict with themselves will push them to improve. They think, if I am hard on myself, I will become better. But in reality, too much pressure often does the opposite. It creates fear of failure. It reduces confidence. It makes you avoid trying new things. So what should you do instead? You don't need to ignore your mistakes or pretend everything is perfect. You just need to change the tone of your inner voice. A simple method is this: talk to yourself the way you would talk to a good friend. If your friend is struggling, you would not say, "You are useless. You will never improve." Instead, you would say, "It's okay. You are learning. Try again." You should speak to yourself in the same way. When you make a mistake, don't attack yourself. Support yourself. When you feel stuck, don't say, "What is wrong with me?" Instead, say, "This is part of learning. I will keep going." At first, this may feel strange. It may even feel like you are not being serious enough. But over time, something changes inside you. You feel calmer, safer, more open to learning. Because real growth does not happen under pressure. It happens in an environment of support. And remember this clearly: you needed support, not pressure. Maybe you didn't receive enough support in the past. But now, you can give it to yourself. So be gentle with your words. Be patient with your progress, because the way you speak to yourself today is shaping who you become tomorrow. Advice number 6, focus on skills, not just dreams. Many people make one common mistake in life. They spend a lot of time thinking about their dreams, but very little time building the skills needed to achieve them. We imagine a better future, a confident version of ourselves, a life where we can speak clearly, express ideas easily, and feel proud. And there is nothing wrong with dreaming. Dreams are important. They give direction and hope. But if dreams are not supported by action, they slowly turn into frustration. I also went through this experience. I had big goals in my mind. I wanted to improve, grow, and become better. But most of the time, I was only thinking about it, planning, watching, learning, but not practicing enough. And slowly I felt stuck. I wanted change, but I was not moving forward. Then I understood something very simple. Dreams without skills create pressure. You know where you want to go, but you don't yet have the ability to reach there. And that gap creates frustration. So the real question is not, what do I want? The question is, what skills do I need to build to reach it? Because skills are what turn dreams into reality. They are the bridge between your present and your future. If we connect this to learning English, it becomes very clear. Many people say, I want to speak English fluently. I want to be confident. I want to communicate easily. These are good goals. But the mistake is focusing only on the result, not the process. Fluency does not come from waiting. It comes from practice. You don't need perfect grammar to start speaking. You don't need a large vocabulary to begin. What you need is consistency. Speak a little every day. Listen regularly. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Try again. Even small practice may not feel powerful in one day, but over time, it creates real improvement. And here is something important. You don't need many hours every day. Even 20 minutes a day is enough if you stay consistent, because the brain learns better from regular practice than from rare, long effort. So instead of only dreaming about fluency, focus on daily action. Ask yourself, did I practice today? Not perfectly, not for hours, just honestly. Because every small effort builds a skill, and every skill brings you closer to your dream. Dreams give direction. Skills create progress. Advice number 7, your environment shapes you. There is a powerful force in your life that you may not notice. It is your environment. The people you spend time with, the content you watch, the conversations you hear, the space you live in. All of these quietly shape your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Many people try to change their lives using only willpower, but they forget that their environment is constantly influencing them. If you are surrounded by negativity, complaining, or lack of growth, your mindset slowly changes in that direction. You may start feeling less motivated or more doubtful. But if you are surrounded by people who learn, grow, and take action, something different happens. You start thinking bigger. You feel more motivated. You begin to believe change is possible. This is not magic. This is how the brain works. There is a system in the brain that helps you learn by observing others. It is called mirror neurons. You don't need to remember the name. But the idea is simple. Your brain copies what it sees often. That is why environment is so powerful. It shapes your thinking without you realizing it. So if your environment is full of distraction or negativity, growth becomes harder. But if your environment supports learning and focus, growth becomes easier. The good news is you cannot control everything around you, but you can control what you allow into your mind. You can choose what you watch. You can choose what you listen to. You can choose who you spend time with. Small changes like this create big results over time, because what you consume daily becomes your mindset. So if you want to change your life, don't only change yourself. Also improve your environment, step by step, because your environment makes growth easier or harder. A new identity, who you can become now after everything we discussed. Pause for a moment and imagine your future self. Not perfect, not without problems, but stronger, calmer, more aware. Imagine waking up with a peaceful mind, not full of noise, not full of pressure. Overthinking is still there sometimes, but much weaker now. You can observe your thoughts without fear. You can question them, and you can let them go. There is a sense of control, a sense of peace, a sense that you are finally becoming the person you were meant to be. Not because life is perfect, but because your mind is no longer working against you. Now imagine your voice, the way you speak, the way you express yourself. You no longer feel that same fear when you open your mouth to speak in English. Maybe you still make small mistakes, but those mistakes no longer stop you. You speak more freely, more clearly. You are not trying to impress anyone anymore. You are simply expressing your thoughts. And there is confidence in your voice. Not because you forced it, but because you built it slowly, step by step, through practice and patience. Now look at your daily life. Your actions are no longer random or dependent on motivation. You now have small and simple habits that you follow regularly. You don't wait for the perfect mood. You just start. Maybe it is 20 minutes of practice. Maybe it is writing your thoughts. Maybe it is learning something new. But you show up again and again, not perfectly, but honestly. And over time, these small actions create something very powerful. They create trust in yourself. This version of you is not far away. It is not a different person. It is you, shaped by your choices, your habits, and your mindset. Every time you choose to start, even when you don't feel ready, every time you are kind to yourself instead of being harsh, every time you focus on your own path instead of comparing yourself, you are slowly becoming this version of yourself. Transformation does not happen in one big moment. It happens quietly. It happens through small decisions you make every day. And one day, you look back and realize you are not the same person anymore. So don't think of change as something far away or impossible. Think of it as something you are already building. Step by step, thought by thought, action by action. And if you can already see this future version of yourself, even a little, then you are already on the right path. A moment of reflection now. Before we continue, I want you to slow down for a moment. Not to think about everything at once, just to pause. You have heard many ideas, many thoughts, many lessons. But real change does not happen only by listening. It happens when you connect these ideas to your own life. Right now, take a quiet moment. You don't need to close your eyes or do anything special. Just become a little aware of yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your current situation, and gently ask yourself one simple but powerful question. What advice do I need right now? Not what sounds good, not what others expect, but what do I truly need at this moment in my life? Maybe you need to stop overthinking. Maybe you need to start something you've been delaying. Maybe you need to be kinder to yourself. Or maybe you just need to take a small step forward instead of waiting. Whatever the answer is, let it come naturally. Don't force it. Just notice what feels true. Then ask yourself one more question. What is one small action I can take today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Keep it very simple. So simple that you cannot avoid it. It could be speaking English for 5 minutes, writing your thoughts, listening to something helpful, or starting something you've been thinking about for a long time. The goal is not to change your whole life today. The goal is to begin. Now take a few seconds. Pause right now. Don't skip this moment. Just breathe and think about your answer. This small reflection is more powerful than it seems. Because when you stop and listen to yourself, you create clarity. And when you take even one small action based on that clarity, you begin to move forward. So don't rush. Be honest with yourself. Because many of the answers you are searching for are already inside you. You just need a quiet moment to hear them. Final message now, as we reach the end of this journey together. I want to leave you with something simple but very important. Something you can carry with you even after this moment ends. No matter what has happened in your past, no matter how many chances you think you missed, no matter how much time you feel you have lost, the truth is the past is already gone. You cannot change it. You cannot go back. And yes, that may feel painful. That is normal. That is human. But there is something else that is also true. Today is still in your hands. Today still has possibilities. Today still has small chances that can change your direction. You don't need to fix everything at once. You don't need to become perfect overnight. You just need to use this moment a little better than before. Many people carry a quiet fear inside them, the fear that says, maybe I am too late. But listen carefully, you are not late. You are just starting now. Everyone has a different timing in life. Some start early, some start later. But what truly matters is not when you start. What matters is that you start. And when you start with awareness, honesty, and small, consistent actions, your life can still change in a big way. So don't let your past stop you. Let it teach you. Let it guide you. But don't let it control you. Because the moment you choose to move forward, even in a small way, your story begins to change. And before we finish, I just want to thank you for being here, for not just listening, but reflecting and thinking deeply. This is not just learning English. This is also learning yourself. Try to repeat a few sentences from today in your own voice. Speak slowly, clearly, naturally. That is how confidence is built. And if you want to go deeper, try asking yourself, what advice would I give to my younger self? And what is one thing I will change starting today? You don't need perfect English to express yourself. You just need courage to try. Thank you again for listening. Keep practicing. Keep improving. Keep growing. And most importantly, be patient with yourself because your journey is already moving forward.